Welcome back, my friends. Or should I be saying welcome back to myself? I know, I've been gone for like 3 months with not a word, and that was quite unprofessional of me, I will admit. But it was a medical emergency. I don't really want to get into it, but it turned out to be a much bigger mountain than the molehill that it actually was. I am still recovering from it, just from being. It was a wild goose chase, okay? And because it was a wild goose chase for so long, I am still recovering from it. If I had been able to figure out the right answers earlier on, then I could have been over this much sooner, but alas, that did not happen, and I learned many things along the way. One of which I will tell you right now: never underestimate the power of a good chiropractor, no matter what your primary care doctor tells you. Chiropractors, good chiropractors, are real doctors too. They don't get enough credit. I was in pain for just over 3 months, and less than 15 minutes in a chiropractor's office, they identified what the issue was, they confirmed what it was, and they took care of it. I went in limping, went out walking normal. I had been limping for most of those 3 months. It sucked, but yeah. So I'm much better. I'm actually ran took a little run and almost died from from losing my breath and from how long it had been since I ran last time. So yeah, taking that in small bites, and that was already a small bite. So I am back though, back in the saddle, and gonna continue on with this. Obviously, I was not doing any comedy, and I was not in the mindset to be working on it. So I'm getting back into that too. It's all a process, and in fact I am making some changes to allow myself some more time to work on comedy, to work on, well, to I don't know how much more time I'll be putting into this, but I'll be able to be more consistent with this. And I won't get into the other changes because right now I want to get back to and caught up with where we ought to be with the good, the bad, and the Bible. Because I have really missed doing this. So we're going to pick up where we left off in Numbers 18. I'm not actually going to go into a whole lot of the details here. I'm just going to mention a few brief points along the way and then just wrap it up with two little stories at the end. Usually, I would be doing one story once a month from now on and posting new comedy material when I get it up. But because it's been so long, and because of how oddly these stories are put together, I'm going to give them both to you. Right after we get through these little tidbits that kind of lead up to one of my points about all this. That point being how much God is such a perfectionist. I mean, if you've been watching the previous episodes on here, you know how easily God will kill over things in here. So we're just going to add a few more of those to the list for shits and gigs real quick. may have a surprise or two along the way. A surprise of what kind? Well, you'll see when we get there. First one right out the gate. Chapter 18, verse 3. He's already talking about... Well, he's actually talking about the sons of Levi, but he's expressly warning them, only they shall not come nigh the vessels of the sanctuary and the altar, that neither they nor ye also die. Just... I mean, the details of what it's about, the crossing the line, all that shit. Loving, forgiving God. Same yesterday and today and forever. Except at one point he was all about murdering people who took something a little bit too far. Or came a little bit too close to his tabernacle at the wrong times, under the wrong conditions. Same thing later on in verse 7 of the same chapter. At the very end, it says, the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. Verse 22. Neither must the children of Israel henceforth come nigh the tabernacle of the congregation, lest they bear sin and die. God's just all about racking up people in heaven or hell, wherever these people would be going. He's making it incredibly easy for people to die. Such a merciful guy. And then he says it again in the very last verse of the chapter, verse 32. Ye shall bear no sin by reason of it. Oh, he's talking about when making a sacrifice. They're not supposed to have any sin when making, well, any sacrifice really, but this particular one. No sin by reason of it, when ye heaved from it the best of it. Neither shall ye pollute the holy things of the children of Israel, lest ye die. Oh, and then here come the surprises. Chapter 19, verse 14. I just wanted to point out, Eleazar the priest shall take of her blood with his finger, sprinkle of her blood directly before the altar of the congregation 7 times. And I'm not going to continue on with the reading, but if you continue reading on from there, well, the whole thing is about taking the blood of a sacrificed animal and sprinkling it. Why do I mention that? Well, because the circles that I grew up in Christianity like to make a big deal of other religions and other belief systems using blood in their rituals. Now, obviously, there's a humane way and clean way, hygienic way. Is that a good way of saying it? I don't know. Okay, but there's a proper way of doing things without hurting anyone that isn't willing to participate. And they would never say anything about the Jews killing an animal for the sake of God. But when it comes to other religions, using blood in their rituals or killing an animal, it's black magic. It's bad. It's evil. It's automatically ew and gross, and it's only okay if it's done for the right God. Sprinkle blood all you want, specifically 7 times, because God is a perfectionist, and if you do it the wrong way, ye shall die. Obviously not in every case, but there's a lot of cases where, those are the only ones you really want to memorize, because at least the other ones you won't die from if you get them wrong. no pressure worshiping this God with all his rules of, yeah, don't do this lest ye die, do this right lest ye die. Hope you're not a random stranger walking by the tabernacle. Oh shit, that person just walked 2 feet too close to the tabernacle. We gotta kill that person. This doesn't. It's not. I'm not saying the original. Okay. I will say this. I don't. I don't quite think the original religion that was being practiced here is quite what's actually being presented here in English. And quite possibly not even in the original language. Like, they could have been doing things differently than what was even being written in the original language when this was first being written. We have no idea how accurate this text is. No one knows, except the people who wrote it, how accurate this text is. That's the hard fact of the matter. So yeah, to be honest, I mean, at point blank, this god comes across a lot like other gods in many ways, and is like, the way some people act about it is just ridiculously unfair. So I always enjoy pointing out the gruesome parts of the origins of Christianity, because, like, well, you got to be okay with that. So honestly, if you're gonna be like Christ and be accepting and loving of everyone else, then you got to be okay when a modern religion or belief system mentions blood magic, or if if they're using it in a proper setting, in a proper, not setting, proper fashion, proper way, proper usage, as long as no one is being victimized, everyone being involved as a willing participant. Then keep your opinions to yourself, motherfucker. Let's all get along. We can agree to disagree on a whole lot of things, but we can still get along. We don't have to call each other gross. We don't have to be the pot calling the kettle black. When we're doing the same thing, we don't have to make it a big deal. It's like, just cuz all right, it's a little bit different, but I like the one analogy, just cuz you're on an ice cream free diet where you're not allowed to eat ice cream, that doesn't give you the right to go around and tell other people to not eat ice cream. Mm-hmm. But in this case, it's more like saying, you know, only only the people serving this god can eat ice cream. Everyone else who eats ice cream that's not within this particular religion is wrong and should die. Like, that's kind of the mentality here. That's the exclusiveness here. That's how terrible this is. To be like, only we can do this. It's only right and good when we do it. When everyone else does it, all their ways are wrong. Like, come on. That's not fair to anyone. It's really not. But here's some good stuff. Here's a good surprise that actually comes in. So we have a little positive point here for Yahweh, or whatever God it is that's being worshipped in this particular period. They're talking about dead bodies, believe it or not. Whosoever toucheth one that is slain with a sword in the open fields, or a dead body, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean for 7 days. And there's a whole process, a cleaning process given for people who touch dead bodies to clean themselves, so that they can be clean, sanitized, and go back and hang out with the rest of everyone else after they're done cleaning up the dead bodies. Uh, and so that's great. That's great, right? Sanitation. Sanitation is a great thing. This is interesting though, and it's I don't know. I mean, you're going to tell me what you think, anyways. But I am. I mean, it is interesting to hear what different people think on something like this. This is a. I would see this as kind of a divisive issue. I feel like there could be a different solution found, but in this day and age, I could understand them being limited with medicine and all that stuff. Um, but I'm going to run it by you. So let's say someone doesn't want to get cleaned through this sanitization process after handling dead bodies. It says, "But the man that shall be unclean and shall not purify himself, that soul shall be cut off from among the congregation." You remember what that phrase means? Because he hath defiled the sanctuary of the Lord, and the water of separation hath not been sprinkled upon him. He is unclean. But his soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel. Yeah. If you recall, or if you don't recall, I'm going to say it either way. The soul being cut off, that can mean either being banned from the nation of Israel or being executed. I thought there was a third one, but I can't think of what it was. But those are the main two ones. So, yeah, happy trails to the afterlife or the other land. Whoever goes through that. I don't know why someone wouldn't want to get cleaned after handling dead bodies. I mean, maybe if it wasn't a very dead body, I don't know. But why would they put up that much of a stink about it? Maybe if they think the sanitization process is gross. So if someone is a germaphobe, I could see someone refusing to go through this process because there's you have to take ashes from a burnt heifer. There's going to be the running water from have a vessel for running water. They take hyssop, they dip it in the water, they sprinkle it on the tent and the vessels and upon the people that were there that touched the dead person or the dead thing or the animal that was slain or the grave. And they sprinkle the person, and on the third day, no, they sprinkle the person on the third day, and then the third day after, I guess the third day after touching the dead thing, and then on the seventh day, it just says they purify themselves, they wash their clothes, bathe themselves in water, and then they'll be clean in the evening. That's the whole process. It's a long process. Giving them a full week to basically giving them a week to quarantine. It sounds like. I mean, I guess it's not the worst idea in the world in case someone gets sick and then you find out within those 7 days. If something pops up that someone got sick, then you have the opportunity to get rid of them. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe um, that itself seems like a relatively good idea if you're limited on being able to keep people clean. But I'm not a doctor, so I have no idea about that particular thing. But what do you think? Do you think someone who doesn't want to go through the whole process should automatically be killed or kicked out? Killed? I don't know. I mean, if they're not showing signs of sickness, maybe that's a determining factor. If they don't show signs of sickness, but they won't be cleaned, maybe they get kicked out. Or if they won't be cleaned and they do show signs of sickness and they still don't want to be cleaned, then they get killed. Maybe, I don't know. That would kind of make sense. So I don't know. Maybe this makes more sense than I was originally thinking. But okay, enough of the tidbits and bits and pieces. Let's jump into the stories. So the first story we have is actually quite a famous story. The children of Israel come to this place, and this is one of the occasions they are out of water. I don't know which time it is, but it's one of the multiple. There's like at least three. But they're complaining their heads off to Moses again, and God speaks to Moses, and he tells Moses, he says, "Take the rod and gather thou." This is chapter 20, by the way, verse 8. "Take the rod, gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock. So thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink." So God is literally telling Moses, to go talk to a rock, and that the rock will start pissing out water that everyone can, or it'll make enough water for everyone to drink, an entire nation, from speaking to a rock. Okay. I don't know how believable that is, but okay. So Moses takes his rod. It's interesting that he's told to take his rod too. You'll find out why if you haven't figured out what story this is. But God's told to take his rod, and he does, and Moses does take his rod. He takes his rod from before the Lord, as he commanded him, and Moses and Aaron gathered everyone around the rock, and he says to them, "Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock?" That's what Moses said. And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod, he hits the rock twice. And the water came out abundantly, a lot, and everyone had plenty to drink. So I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know why Moses and Aaron all of a sudden decided, or if it even was mutually decided thing, because it really sounds like it was all Moses. It really does here. Sure, Moses says we, but he acts all angry. He does the hitting. He doesn't even talk to the rock. He just straight up hits the thing. And he's got to hit it twice. And honestly, I mean, a lot of times, when you're really mad, you will hit something twice. If not 3 times. Or 4 times. Depending on how mad you are. You know what I'm talking about. So it makes total sense if whatever the thing was actually supposed to be hit. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was a device that was supposed to be spoken to. And then hitting the device, same way just like hitting an old TV to get the station to come in, the channel to come in, made the water come out. To where maybe it wasn't an actual rock. Maybe it was something else that was planted there. I don't know. There's really no explanation given here other than just what happens. Like, I would love to know what originally happened because it was definitely not this. But God's mad. God gets upset about this. And he says, because ye believed me not. He says it to Moses and Aaron. So somehow Aaron is in on this. It's not said how. That's the weirdest part. It is not said how. And honestly, I think that is kind of messed up. That they don't even say. Like, it doesn't, like, would saying it mess up the story? Like, what the heck? Like, why aren't we given that type of information? We only get to know how Moses messed up, but not Aaron. We gotta, like, figure it out from just how Moses acted? Like, what the hell? Like, did Aaron tell Moses to hit the rock? Did Aaron say something like, "Oh, God's being an asshole," or like the people are being like, what was said? What specifically happened to make God put Aaron in the exact same boat as Moses? And not just the same boat, we'll find out. But not yet. Oh no, never mind. We will find out. Yeah. But this is what he says first to both of them together. He says, because ye believed me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. Basically what that means is, that holy land that I was having you take all this nation to, yeah, neither of y'all are going to live to walk them in. You're not going to live there. You're going to die before you get there. Yeah, because you screwed up on my rock. You can still lead the people of Israel till you get there, but you're not going in. I'm tired of you guys. You guys suck. And I'm only gonna record what you did, Moses. I'm not even gonna say what Aaron did. Because I like keeping things in the dark like that. I work in mysterious ways. But what makes it so darn curious that Aaron's entanglement isn't mentioned is what happens a little bit later. Now, story number 2 happens next, but we're going to skip story number 2 and get on, because what happens right after story number 2 is what happens to Aaron. Oh, yeah. After story number 2, God comes down to Moses and he says to take Aaron into a mountain, nearby mountain, and he said, Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because ye rebelled against my word at the water of Meribah, place where the rock was. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, and bring them up unto the mount. I'm not shitting you. The name of the mountain is Hor, spelled Hor. They're going up to Mount Hor. The Bible has its bright moments. Anyways, they take Aaron and Eleazar, his son, bring them up onto Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments, and put them on Eleazar, his son. And Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, and shall die there. And Moses did as the Lord commanded, and they went up into the mount. They went up into Mount Hor, in sight of the congregation. And Moses stripped Aaron of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son, and Aaron died there in the top of the mount. So, whatever the heck Aaron did, it got him killed almost right away. Moses, on the other hand, guess how much longer he lived? Okay, time-wise, I don't know, but he has all the rest of Numbers. And this is chapter 20. 20 all the way to the end, which is 35, 36. So that's like that's about another 16 chapters worth in this book, which stretches over who knows how much time. Plus another entire book called Deuteronomy. All Moses. And I already looked in ahead to see if any of these stories, took place earlier on, because sometimes in the Bible, some stories get flipped around here and there. Some things that happen in Kings happen in Samuel, and things that happen in Samuel happen in Kings, and vice versa. I might have a few things backwards, but point being, I had to look ahead to see if Aaron popped up again. And he doesn't. He gone. He dead. No more stories about Aaron. Aaron gone bye-bye. But Moses is going to be around for a while. Apparently Moses didn't piss God off nearly as much as Aaron. Because that's why he died. He didn't die because he got too old. That wasn't the reason given. The reason given was that he pissed God off. But Moses gets to live on and on and on and on. Still doesn't get to go in the land. Oh my, how terrible. But he not only gets to keep on living, he still gets to be in charge. It's like Moses doesn't even really get punished. In a way. Like, not compared to Aaron. Aaron gets gone. Or straight sooner to heaven, or however way you want to take that. I don't know. But it's viewed as an execution. It is painted as he died early because he didn't get to go in. Moses dies right before going in. I don't know, was it a punishment that Moses had to stick it out longer and get that much closer to going in, but actually not going in? Maybe. But at the same time, why is it merciful to keep Aaron around? Like, does he not serve any other purpose to be kept around? Like, what did he do that was so terrible to merit his execution? If he didn't deserve to be high priest anymore, that's one thing. Just fire him. Let him retire. But God, like, I mean, even Catholic priests get retired or sent to a different seminary when they get in trouble with altar boys. But here, oh, you what? You sorted with Moses to hit a rock. That gives God a reason to execute you. This is why the Bible should not be taken too seriously. Or literally. Because this does not come across as a smart or wise or loving or kind God to be worshiping. Just saying. And as if to back that up, we have that story number 2, which is going to come right here. Only takes place in the span of 8 verses. So I'm going to read the whole thing to you real quickly. They're traveling through somewhere, and Moses requests permission to travel through land. He sends word unto the king of Edom. He says, Thus saith thy brother Israel, the nation, Thou knowest all the travail that hath befallen us. You know everything we've been through. How our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dwelt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians vexed us and enslaved us, and our fathers treated us like shit, basically. And when we cried unto the Lord, he heard our voice, and sent an angel, and hath brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border. Let us pass, I pray thee, thou and thy country, through thy country. We will not pass through thy fields, or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway. We will not turn to the right or left until we have passed through thy borders. So Moses is offering just a real quick note here. He says, Can we come through their land? We promise we won't touch anything. That's literally the premise of what he says. You know what we've been through. We've had a hard time. We're just going from A to B, and you're kind of in the middle. You mind if we just pass through? Promise we won't touch anything. Pretty please. And what does Edom say? Edom said unto him, Thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with the sword. Edom basically says, Nah, fuck you. Fuck off. Fucking attack you if you come close. And the children of Israel said unto him, We'll go by the highway. And if I and my cattle drink of thy water, then I will pay for it. I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet. He's like pleading with him. Moses is really trying. And Edom said, king of Edom said, Thou shalt not go through. And not only that, Edom came out against Israel. It says, And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand. So for some, I have no idea why, but Edom really did not want the Israelites to come through. They just weren't really about it. So much so that when Moses asked again the second time, they're like, not only fuck you, but fuck you, chick, chick, boom. That was literally their response. And it says, thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border. Wherefore Israel turned away from him. End of story. The end. I know, you're like, but wait, where's the part where God shows up and kicks everyone's asses? It's not there. No. Seriously. It's not there. That's the punchline. Moses supposedly does everything right in this situation. He's polite to the king. He lays out his case. He asks nicely. He promises not to take anything. Don't know if that would be true or not, but that's what he says anyways. Pleads twice. Edom not only says no, but reacts straight up like a bully. Says no and punches back. Basically gives Israel the boot and sends Israel scurrying away. No mention of God. No mention of God intervening and helping. Is it because they didn't go to God? Is that really... I mean, if they're in a kind of a dire situation, you know what? I'm pretty sure there were Israelites, while they were getting their asses kicked by the Edomites, who were crying out to God, asking him for help. But oh no, they got their asses kicked anyways, and it got recorded. Like, why would you record that? You guys got your butt whooped, and God didn't do anything about it. You were polite, you were nice. Does that mean you fibbed and you weren't actually nice? And God purposefully didn't help you? That means there's something left out of the Bible? Wouldn't that be terrible? Another time where it gets mistranslated or something lost in text. Oh no! Not again! There is something seriously missing here. Why wouldn't God step in? Why wouldn't they ask God for help? After all the other times they've been having help from God. Surely God isn't punishing the Israelites. He has a way of stating that. Like, when you read the book of Judges, it's all about making sure the reader understands that Israel got captured because they worshipped false gods. And God let them get captured. That's like the whole premise of the book of Judges. So what the heck did Moses and the Israelites do to deserve this treatment from God? Yeah, from God. Yeah, Edom was wrong, but where was God in the picture when he's been so active, so intimate up to this point? Why did Moses feel like he had to plead? He had to say, you know how hard of a time that we've had. Please help us. Why wasn't he like, we have Yahweh on our team. He will kick your ass.
like he kicked the Egyptians' ass. He'll throw all the plagues against you. He'll destroy the firstborn of your children. Let my people pass, or you will be screwed by us and our mighty God Yahweh. But no, he's like, please, please let us do, please. We promise we won't touch anything. Adam's like, no, fuck off. No, please let us. Fuck off! And they fucked off, and there was nothing they could do about it. And apparently, neither could Yahweh. Until it was time to execute Aaron, because that was the next thing that happened. So when lives are at stake and people are getting bullied, this God has no interest. But when it's time to execute someone who hardly did anything in the act of disobedience to his will, oh, we gotta get on that right now. Hey, well, what about Edom? Lost to him. Oh well. Kill your high priest. That's all I care about. Replace him with his son. He'll be more obedient, more subservient. No. And Moses can die a long time later. He can stay in charge. It's fine. It's fine. Even though he was the one that hit the rock and said the mean words and all that, he can stay alive a while longer and in charge. I know Aaron didn't really do anything, but he can't even retire. Like, I'm just kill him. I don't care about the people that got killed by Edom. Kill the priest. That's the kind of God it appears we are dealing with here. Wonderful. Wonderful. And that is all the time we have for today. I hope you've enjoyed this fascinating, fresh look at the good, the bad, and the Bible. And I hope you will join me for the next following weeks. I will be returning every week possible till I am caught up. I've missed out the last 3 months, so that is 3 videos that I am behind on. Over the next few weeks, I may take some time off for 4th of July, but I will be consistently working on getting myself caught up to where I can be back on one story or so from the Bible a month. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, stay safe and farewell.